Welcome back to the Carolina Sea Hornets. I've got a good video for you today, folks. After getting our butts kicked, getting out to this site with 4-foot waves every 5 seconds with whitecaps everywhere, the weather finally started to pan out good enough to make a dive on this shipwreck. I speared my first cobia and saw the biggest ray I've ever seen. I'm going to narrate this one for you guys and give my thoughts on what's going on throughout, so enjoy. So right here, I'm looking at this fish, and I swear it's either a cobia or a shark. I'm still having a hard time looking at them from above and being able to differentiate the two. And I thought for a second I would probably swim away from the wreck and try and risk it, but then at the same time, I really love grouper, and the grouper stick around the wreck, so I wanted to check out the wreck first. And right here, right off the bat, you got Joe catching the biggest lobster of the day right on his first try, just taking that thing right out of the wreck and putting it right in his lobster bag. Coming up right here is usually my favorite part of the dive, when you get to see in this big opening here. One time I saw a rather massive hogfish that was in here, and shot it, and the spear ended up bending and coming out as it flew away, and I was unable to find that hogfish. But here today, there's so much bait fish in here, I just can't even see in there. And usually when you shine a light in there, especially on a grouper, it scares them off and they go into hiding. Hogfish, not so much. Grouper, yeah. But coming up here, I end up seeing about 3 or 4 scamps. And when it comes to scamps, I always question whether I should shoot them or not, because they're not usually massive fish. They're hard to find, the really bigger ones. And I tend to shy away from shooting them because I don't want to shoot the smaller ones. I want them to be able to grow up and find them later and catch them when they're worth actually shooting. So instead, I'm able to spot these lobsters here, and I have my go at them. And as you can see here, there's a ton of some of the biggest lionfish you'll ever see on this wreck. Word is that last week a guy found my lost lionfish spear and speared, I think he said 15 or 17 lionfish, and here we are, and you can see them all over this wreck as is. You get to see all these scamps hiding underneath this little piece of shipwreck over here. This lobster snare, by the way, is as bent up as it is, and as easy as it was to bend up the snare the way it is, it feels like it's a lot easier than any other lobster snare I've used. This is that Life League lobster snare I did a review on. So about right here, I was thinking about possibly shooting these scamps, and off in the distance, I see a shadow. And it looked like a rather large shark, as you can see right here. Now, I dive with the Ocean Guardian, which is really good at keeping these things away, but I don't like to test things, you know. I like to try and keep things kind of safe, so I chose not to go after those scamps no matter what when that thing was that close. But then all of a sudden, I see this gigantic ray and a whole school of cobia. And of course, I can't pass that up. This is the first time I've seen something like this ever. And so I go to line up on it and try and figure out which one I want to shoot. And my safety's on. That was a hurt feeling right there. So I'm rushing, trying to turn it off and be able to make another shot as they swim away. And I'm not a fan of trying to chase after fish. So I decided to just call it quits on that one. So this lobster right here, I think, was pretty close to the same size as Joe's. Joe's definitely inched out in the winning size, but this one was pretty big as well. This little guy was here taking a nap in the ship. Every time I see these sea turtles, I always think of that movie, The Master of Disguise, and the scene where he's acting like he's a turtle and he goes, "Turtle, turtle." Love these little guys. So surprise, as I'm coming up ascending from this dive, I'm probably at the 60-foot mark here, and I see this ray out of the corner of my eye. And I'm like, this is my chance. I need to load my gun again as quick as I can, and I need to get one of these Cobias. And I try to get Joe's attention. I yell at him, I make some noises, and he doesn't hear me. And so I go for it. I swim off the rope and chase after these guys and see which one I can go after. And luckily, a couple of them, trying to figure out what I am and what I'm doing, decided to break off and see. And I almost shoot me an amberjack, but instead, I stone a cobia. Now, he's not quite dead, but he's dead enough for me to get a hold of him without having to wrestle him. And so here, what I'm doing is I'm holding on, and I pull my knife out, and I begin to slit his gills, trying to drain his blood and get him to be as lifeless as possible, because I also know that that shark is pretty close by. So I don't want that dinner bell to ring. There goes the Cobia's breakfast right there. So Joe sees me wrestling with this, trying to gill him, and he's thinking that this thing is kicking my butt. I'm perfectly fine, but he comes up and offers to string him for me. And definitely, why not? I would love the assistance. So together, we captured this cobia. That pretty much wraps up the excitement for this dive. The rest of this footage shows a normal chill ascent with proper decompression stops on the way up. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell your friends about the Carolina Sea Hornets. I'm always looking to meet other like-minded divers in the area, so feel free to reach out. Have a nice day.